What's up, my loves? We're going to try this again to record live this 10-minute tease tutorial because I have 3 of these things to do this morning. So hopefully we can get on the good foot and this will work out for us. All right, yay! I'm glad to see y'all back. And I'm going to do as little extra as possible while I'm recording these things live because the internet has not been the same since everyone has been home, and I will tell you that is the truth. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get on with designing this particular template, which is a Stranger Things theme. And I thought this would be really cool for the seniors, but you can also change this text. So you could say senior things. I think we're going to do a version today that says quarantine things, or, you know, something like that, just to show you how to change the text. And we'll go ahead and get started with that. So the first thing you're probably going to want to change is the photo. I'm going to go ahead and, just because I don't know, I just created this, and so I don't really even know what all the layers are on the right hand side. So I'm going to choose my move tool, right click on the image until I find the description. So this one is photo, and I'm going to double click on this photo because it's a smart object. I'll be able to bring it in and copy these effects here. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and drag in what photo we're going to use. And drag and drop it there. Now what I'm going to do is kind of ensure that I have the same type of orientation. There we go. And if I want this glow, now this glow, and I'll show you the reference image that this came from, just if you want to have the glow on the photo, you can right click, copy this layer style, and then paste it. Paste the layer style to the new photo. And we can turn off the old photo and go ahead, exit, and say yes, you want to save the changes, or you could have hit Control S to save, or File S, or File Save to save it. So now that updates it here. And then let's see what we're going to do. If we need to fade anything off, definitely. I see a harsh line right here, which is not that big of a deal. We're just going to add a layer mask. Grab our paintbrush. Now we could be a little more meticulous. And the size of this brush is rather large, so I'm going to hold down Control Alt. Let me put my little cheat sheet up for y'all. So if I hold down Control Alt, and then I'm holding the right mouse button. Hold on just a second. There we go. It's making my brush smaller or larger as I move left to right. And that's a shortcut my brother told me about some time ago, and I never used it, but it has been so helpful, especially when I don't have to bring up the brushes panel just to say change the brush size or the brush hardness. So if I'm on the brush selection, I can also do Control Alt, and I'm holding down my right mouse button, and then I'm going up and down to change the hardness. So that's a hard brush, that's your softest brush. Left and right changes the size. So I hope that was helpful to you guys, because it definitely is helping me out. Alright, so images in there, good to go. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take and I'm going to paste the layer style here. My problem was, we go back into this photo, and I'm going to go ahead and just clear the layer style over here because it did not propagate into my image like I wanted it to. And this will be helpful. You probably can't see it now, but this is going to be helpful when I show you all the ways in which we can change this. So right now it's in this kind of black and white mode, where you can change the color right here of the hue and saturation. If I turn it off, it's going to be red, which is what it is normally for the theme. And then let me show you my theme inspiration. So the inspiration here, I'm seeing them a lot with like this red glow on them, of course. So that's why there's a red glow on the image, but you can very well turn that off just by turning off the effects for the photo layer. If you don't want it in black and white, turn off the black and white effect and you have full color. Here is something else we'll probably show you how to do. This hue saturation layer, what it does is it takes the color underneath and makes it the whatever color that you want to shift that hue to. So over here on the right hand side, you'll see where it says the preset is on custom. If you take it and tell it to change just the reds, hold on a second, I have to turn on. Oh, it's on color. It's on colorize. And then I think I changed the blend mode to hue. So it'll only pretty much color what's not black and white. So we'll change this to, let's see, let me turn it off for just a second so I can see what color her, I think it's a royal blue or maybe even a navy blue. And I'm going to turn the black and white back on there. You can turn the glow back on. So the image will stay black and white. The glow will barely be on the edge, and all the glow and the image will change in color. So let's say I wanted a bright blue. There we go. I could also make it darker. I can bring down the saturation of the color. Give me just a moment. It's probably going to take just a second for that to catch up. And I want to make sure that it's a true blue and not close to purple. Now I'm not getting as dark of a color as I would like, so if you really wanted this to look less neon and more like a true color, then you would want to go in and add adjustment layer, do some levels. And I'm going to do that just to the triangle effects layer. Then we can come in here and play with these levels a little bit. And as you can see, like the intensity of the color is changing a little bit. I don't really like how it's affecting my photo, but I can always bring my photo up so that it doesn't affect that layer. But I think the whole purpose of this is to keep it looking neon glowing. So even if your color was navy blue, you probably wouldn't make the glow navy blue. So let me get rid of that one. So we change the color of the glow. Let's say that you wanted to go with, for the background, I have this multicolor kind of inspired design set up. And then what we would end up doing is turning off the hue saturation. And now I'm back with my normal red for the Stranger Things logo. And this right here, you can change the color of this gradient. As a matter of fact, you can also, without changing the original one, duplicate that layer. Double click it and you'll see that this looks like a linear gradient that I kind of tried to mimic some of the colors here in this poster graphic, and I chose the angle. Now what the angle does is it has, see right now I'm on -94, I'll show you. See, it kind of splits and creates almost a pie version of that gradient. So the gradient will move from, I think this one goes clockwise. So it starts with the teal color and then goes to the blue, the magenta, the red, and the orange, and back to the magenta or purple again. So I had it kind of set to where the angle was right where the tree trunk is, that black tree trunk, so you can't really see that harsh division there, but you may want to see it, so you might want to make it intentional and put it somewhere. But that's how this one is set up. You could change these colors if you wanted to. You can change up the school colors. I just went with the kind of surreal looking gradient for the poster art there. So let's, you know what, let's do that. Let me show you how to do it. Let's take a color here and let's say the school colors are blue and white, like I guess as they are. So I'll keep that light blue. Typically I'll have something to choose from, like a logo or something in here. So I'm going to move this blue away from the purple. And just a tip, the duller your blue looks, the better blue it will turn out. It will turn out more blue than purple. So when you choose those really rich blues, it gets dangerously close to purple. If you choose a very dull blue, and I mean dull as in when you look at it, it's like, looks a little grayish, looks a little drab. That's the blue you want. Let's do white. And instead of recreating these other colors, I'm just going to click on one and duplicate it. Get rid of these other two. Click on this one. And if I click again, it will duplicate that mark. And then I can just play with the separation of them. And maybe I want this lighter blue to come before this one. And this teal may not be the blue that you want to play with, but I'm just giving you some indication so that you know there's another color option that you can throw in there. And if you want to save that gradient, because you may use it later on for anything, then hit new, and it will automatically save it in your palette there. Alright, so I'll go back to the colorful. Oh, and then there's the black and white. I'm sure you know that you can also just change this with a single color. So let's go ahead. Let me show you that representation too. So layer, we'll do a new fill layer. Let's do a solid color. And we don't have to clip it because it's the bottom layer. And let's choose the blue. Royal blue. And for the blend mode, I think I have this one on overlay. Let's go ahead and put I just dragged it, I didn't know it. So we're going to keep it right above. What am I doing? I think I have a little lag in my reaction of the computer while I'm recording the live, so my apologies to you all. Okay, so that's what we were intending to do, and we were just trying to change the blend mode to, what was it, overlay? There we go. So overlay is giving us some of the light and the color application, still keeping my darks dark, so I'm good with that. But you can always just go in here if you want to, double click there and change that color. Alright, so now we have that option taken care of. What else did I need to show you about Simple? Like pretty much this is done. I'm just showing you what you can change in terms of the effects and everything. Let's say that, I don't know, I really like this rainbow effect. I'm going to keep that one on for her. So you also have the text and the number. I wouldn't even change anything with the triangle. You should be good with that. So you can double click here to change the text and double click here to change the number. Let's say this one is, you don't want to spell senior things. So I'm actually going to call this one senior things. And then I'm going to duplicate this group. And maybe let's say I said we were going to change, like do a version which is quarantine things, just because the seniors are dealing with that. So I made a copy of it so I don't mess up my senior things. I'm going to double click the text here, and you will probably have to download this font. It's free, Bingway ITC. When you open up the program, it'll tell you you're missing a font, so you're definitely going to want to download that specific font. All right, so my S is going to be changed to a Q, and then my R is going to be changed to an E. And this is helpful because if you are going to modify this text, then you're going to want to know how you can do so with it still looking like the overall theme. Now for the word in the middle, let's see how we would spell it. Q-U, quar. Hold on. I can't spell quarantine right now. That's what the spell of the check is for. And you want to make sure that you quarantine. Yeah, okay. I don't know why it looked funny. I guess because I'm separating the word too. You cannot spell check when you're doing it like this because you're chopping up the word. So I would suggest that you spell check it elsewhere like I just did. I just spell checked it on Google just now. And just quarantine like I originally typed, but it just looks funny because you're trying to break it up in two different levels of text. So let's go ahead. Now I can see that I had it spaced out to make senior look like it was stretched out. So I'm going to come here to my text spacing here, and if you hover over that VA, you can bring it to the left and make it smaller. You can also come down here to your drop down menu and you have some options here. Now I don't want it to be too close because if my text touches then it'll look continuous. So I want to leave a little bit of spacing between there. So what I'm going to have to do is squish this in a little bit, which I had to stretch it out in order to do the senior anyway. So I'm going to squish it in. And this is where, you know, it may not look like the original font because not all words are the same length, so you do end up with some issue there. And if that's not working, you can always do Control-T and kind of manually do this part. And what I'm thinking is I'm just going to make the Q and the E stand out a little bit more, and all there are just spaces there. And I'm even going to have to squish this so it doesn't look too obvious. And you aren't trying to be perfect, but you are trying to give off the same vibe. That's the whole point of a parody design. So we aren't going to beat ourselves up for being the exact font width and everything, but we are going to make sure it's legible and that it looks recognizable as the reference is. So I think that's good there. Quarantine. All right, it looks like it spells quarantine to me. I'm going to go ahead and we can file save. So this is another way you can save when you're in a smart object. And then when you close out, now it says quarantine things. Look at that. And let's see the number that's behind there. You can double click on the number, and right now it's 20. That's probably going to be pretty standard for right now, but you could change that for years to come, of course. Or maybe if this isn't a graduation design at all, it might be a birthday design. So maybe you want to say birthday things or Barbie things or whatever. You could change that that text there and maybe put the birthday year. That would be an interesting one. All right, so that's it. Let me see, is there anything else? Oh, you can change the lightning. You can, if you want to, that lightning is in the triangle effects, I believe. And if you don't know, you can always right click and see how it says lightning glow. I try to label these so that you can tell from the artwork and not have to go through the right hand side with the layers panel. So for the lightning effect, it has a color overlay on the globe, which is just white, and then it has an outer glow color. So the outer glow color right now is like this little bit of a red pinkish color, to go with the red here. And if you leave all of this the same and just happen to change the hue saturation, it changes all that together. So it changes the color of the lightning, it changes the color of the triangle, the glow that's on her shoulders and on her side of her face, and it also changes the glow color of the logo here. So that is an option there for you. But that's it. Y'all have any questions about this template? I tried to make this one simple. Even though it does some complicated looking things, it's pretty simple. Girl, you're right. Lord, I have an extra A and an R in there. Hold on. Lord. That's why it was so hard to fit all those letters on there. I wasn't even paying attention. Hold on. Oh, okay. So let's double click on our text. What would I do without y'all in my live right now? Okay, so quarantine is going. Okay, so now it will make more sense when I stretch this out. Already today, y'all. This is going to be an interesting time, I tell you. So, quarantine. Have I spelled it right now? I'm going to wait on y'all's response on this one because obviously my spelling brain does not work when my design brain is on. Okay, awesome. All right, so we're good on that part. Now it looks more like the original design from the poster. Doesn't have any extra letters or anything, so we should be good on that. And see how my T and my I are like blended together? If you don't want that to happen, let me show you that. Go into your text here and just you want to add more spacing between the text, which now you have to squish it more to get it to fit within that logo size. But now you see you actually do have splits and spacing in between the letters. So you definitely want to pay attention to those settings. That's the tracking. Then you have the horizontal scale, vertical scale, and that's pretty much all we messed with for this one. So you just squish it how you need to make it work, make it look like it needs to look, and hopefully spell like it needs to spell. All right, so we'll update that, and then immediately you'll see that there should be a difference between how close the T and the I were. They were blended together, now they're not. And for the Q is a little bit of a violation right now because it's touching this line, but I don't think anybody would notice that. If it really bothered you, then you could also move these horizontal lines as well. But that's it. Y'all have any input or want to see any changes on here before we move on to the next template? And also, I would like y'all's comments on what other kind of things we could do, because I would like to see this quarantine things. We have birthday things. What else could we really do? I would like to even maybe quarantine things could work for the medical professionals and the people that are still working, the essential workers right now. I want to do something for the essential workers. So y'all help me think of something for that. It may not even be a photo design. So what I'll probably do is offer this design also as just a PNG without the triangle and photo and stuff, because some people may want this just as a quarantine things kind of commemoration, coronavirus 2020 type of deal. I've seen a lot of people make things for the nurses and medical staff, essential workers, the delivery folks out there that are still working hard every single day. So maybe we'll do like a simple PNG version for that. So I need y'all ideas for what we should make PNG versions of, because we're going to start offering those for like $5 online too. So then you all have things to play with as well. So that's it for this template, guys. Let me see if you need anything before I... Oh, wedding things. Yes. That sounds really, really cool. So, yeah, we'll make a little list and do some variations, and hopefully we'll get some good ideas out of this. All right, love. So I'm gonna log off of this one. The next one we're gonna be doing is, I think, the Versace. So that one was highly requested. So we'll do that one next. And if we have one more to do today, and then I will be maybe randomly logging in and doing some live. So if y'all have some time to spend with me today, I will be here. All right, loves. I will check y'all in a bit.